The night air feels heavier than usual. My car engine hums as I pull into my parents' driveway. Their perfect lawn glows under soft yellow lights. The house looks untouched by time, polished and proud. I sit for a moment, gripping the steering wheel too tight. $5,000 repeats in my head like static. I take a breath and step out into the cold air. Before I can knock, the door swings open. My mother stands there, a practiced smile on her face. "Maya, what a surprise," she says, voice sweet but distant. "Come in, dear. Your father and Ryan are in the dining room." The smell of coffee and polish hits me instantly. Inside, laughter spills from the table covered in blueprints. Ryan waves when he sees me, bright and confident. "Perfect timing," he says. "We're redesigning the kitchen again." He points to 2 slabs of marble. "Which one looks better, the Carrara or the Calicut?" I stare but can't answer. My heart beats faster, throat tight with unspoken fear. "I actually needed to talk to you all about something," I say. My voice sounds foreign, shaky but determined. My father glances at his watch, barely looking at me. "Can it wait 15 minutes? We're finalizing these plans." "It's about my health," I blurt out before I lose courage. Silence swallows the room. Ryan lowers the blueprint slowly. "What's wrong?" my mother asks, face suddenly serious. I tell them everything, the diagnosis, the urgency, the cost. My words feel fragile, floating in the air between us. When I finish, no one speaks. My father removes his glasses, rubbing the bridge of his nose. "You should have planned better," he says evenly. "Medical emergencies happen. That's why people save." "Thomas," my mother says softly, but she doesn't disagree. I feel heat rising behind my eyes. "I've been saving," I manage, "but rent and loans." My father cuts me off. "We can't reward irresponsibility." My mother nods slightly, folding her hands in her lap. "You're an adult now, Maya. These are lessons everyone learns." The room feels colder. I stare at the glossy blueprints, all for Ryan's renovation. He clears his throat, avoiding my eyes. "Dad, did you confirm the budget increase to 400,000? My head snaps toward him in disbelief. 400,000 for tiles and countertops. I need 5,000 to stay alive. 400,000, I whisper, voice barely audible. My parents exchange that familiar look, the one of quiet judgment. "It's an investment," my father explains calmly. "Property value will rise. It's for Ryan's future." Tears burn behind my eyelids, but I don't let them fall. "This is surgery I need, not a vacation," I say softly. My father glances back at his watch, impatient. "We'll discuss this another time. It's late." My mother pats my hand gently. "There are budgeting apps that might help, sweetheart." Ryan says nothing. The blueprints reclaim their place at the center of attention. I rise slowly, the chair scraping across the hardwood. Their voices fade behind me, replaced by talk of backsplash tiles. In the hallway, family photos line the wall. Ryan smiles from every frame. I don't appear in most of them. Outside, the night wind stings my face. I start the car, but for a moment I can't move. The house glows warm behind me, full of comfort I can't touch. Finally, I whisper to myself, steady and clear. They won't be the reason I fall apart. Then I drive away, into the dark, toward whatever comes next. The alarm screams at 4:30 a.m. My hand slams the nightstand, searching for the button. Silence returns, thick and heavy. The sky outside my window is still black. No sun, no hint of warmth, just stars fatting behind the city haze. 3 hours until my office job begins. But first comes the morning shift. I pull on the uniform, the cheap fabric smelling of detergent. My reflection in the mirror looks older than 25. Eyes sunken, skin pale, spirit thin but unbroken. The calendar on my wall marks 22 days until surgery. 22 days to earn what my family refused to give. I grab my keys, my backpack, and step into the cold. The streets are quiet, just the hum of delivery trucks and my own breath. At the cafe, the lights buzz harshly against metal counters. I brew coffee, wipe tables, smile at strangers. Every dollar slips into an envelope labeled hope. After 8 hours, I rush to the office. Spreadsheets, emails, fake laughter in break rooms. Coworkers talk about vacations, new phones, gym memberships. I talk about nothing. At 6, I clock out and head to my third shift. Dog walking, pet sitting, anything that pays. By midnight, I collapse on the couch, shoes still on. Bills cover the table like snow. Medical statements, rent reminders, overdue notices. I calculate again and again, chasing numbers that never add up. Still short by $2,300. I set up a crowdfunding page, typing carefully through tears. Emergency surgery, any help matters. The donations come slowly. A few coworkers, some old classmates, distant acquaintances. $100 here, $20 there. The total creeps upward like a hesitant heartbeat. $1,243. Halfway, my phone buzzes with a text. From my mother. Ryan's kitchen cabinets just arrived. They look amazing. Hope you're doing well. I stare at the message until the screen dims. No mention of the surgery. No questions, no concern. Just cabinets. I delete the message and go back to work. Days blur into nights, weeks melt together. Sleep becomes a rumor I once believed in. Lena checks on me every evening. She brings soup, jokes, and quiet company. When I cry, she doesn't tell me to stop. She just holds my hand until I can breathe again. On the night before surgery, she helps pack my hospital bag. Comfortable clothes, charger, notebook, hope. You'll be okay, she whispers. You're tougher than you think. I nod, but my chest aches. Fear and exhaustion swirl together until they're indistinguishable. The morning of the operation, I sit in the pre-op room. The nurse asks for my emergency contact. My hand trembles as I write, Lena Morris. Not family, she asks gently. She's the one who'll be here, I say. And she is. When I wake from anesthesia, Lena is there, smiling through tears. You did it, she whispers. It's over. For the first time in months, I let myself cry. Not from pain, but from something like relief. Because even if blood turned its back on me, kindness didn't. Recovery is slow, stubborn, and full of silence. Each morning begins with the same dull ache in my side. Lena sets up my pills, water, and a timer for reminders. She decorates the window with get-well cards from coworkers. None from my family. I learn to move again, inch by inch, like a child relearning balance. The therapist's voice echoes in my head. Pain means progress, keep breathing. By the third week, I can walk to the window without trembling. Outside, life continues without me. Loud and indifferent. Inside, I make plans. I start reading late into the night. Finance books, real estate basics, investment guides for beginners. Numbers begin to make sense in a way people never did. Each paragraph feels like a door opening. Each formula feels like control, returning to my hands. My savings account holds $28. Still, I start a new spreadsheet labeled Future. I track every cent, every goal, every lesson learned. I dream of a time when I can stand tall and never beg again. Lena catches me one night, surrounded by books and notes. You're supposed to rest, she says. I am, I answer, just resting differently. Weeks pass. The pain fades, replaced by a sharper determination. When I return to work, my steps are slower but my mind sharper. I study during lunch breaks, listen to finance podcasts on the bus home. Bills shrink as I pay them off, one by one. For every dollar I lose, I gain a piece of strength. 6 months later, I open a new savings account. I name it Property Fund. First deposit, $212.83. It feels like planting a seed in dry soil. Tiny but alive. On my 26th birthday, Lena brings a small cupcake. One candle, she says, for new beginnings. I close my eyes and wish for peace, not money. When I open them, my phone buzzes. A message from my mother. Happy birthday, dear. You should come see Ryan's finished house. It's beautiful. I laugh, soft and bitter, but it doesn't hurt as much as before. The next day, I attend a free real estate seminar downtown. The room hums with ambition and cheap coffee. The speaker, an older woman in a sharp blue suit, commands the stage. Real estate, she says, isn't about property, it's about solving problems. I write every word she says, filling pages until my hand cramps. After the session, I approach her. Her name is Barbara West. She studies my notes and smiles. You took more notes than anyone else here. I don't want to miss anything important, I say. Good, she replies, handing me a card. Call me when you're ready. I mentor serious people. That night, I pass a small, broken duplex with a for sale sign. Peeling paint, cracked steps, empty windows. But I see something others don't, potential. I snap a photo and save it in my phone. File name, Possibility 1. For the first time in a long time, I believe the future might be mine. 5 years change everything. The woman in my office window barely resembles the girl who once begged for help. My reflection shows tailored suits, calm eyes, and quiet authority. The sign on the door reads, Mira Property Group. My company, my name, my work. Not luck, not charity, discipline. My assistant knocks softly. Your 11 o'clock canceled, but Barbara confirmed lunch. I nod, adjusting the stack of reports on my desk. Order feels like control, and control feels like peace. I built this from the ruins of $5,000. Every file, every property, every decision holds a scar behind it. At lunch, Barbara stirs her coffee, silver hair catching the sunlight. You did well with the Riverside deal, she says. 15 units at a bargain price. You have good instincts. Praise still feels unfamiliar, like a language I'm learning slowly. I tell her about my next project, small houses, solid potential. She smiles, eyes sharp and proud. When was the last time you spoke to your family? She asks. I hesitate. 5 years and 2 months, I answer. Barbara nods knowingly. Sometimes distance is the only medicine that works. Her words linger long after she leaves. The next morning, I review new listings over coffee. One address freezes me mid-sip. 47 Oak Ridge Lane. 3 doors from my parents' old house. I circle it with a trembling pen. By noon, I drive through the neighborhood I once escaped. The lawns look smaller now, less perfect, more human. At Ryan's former house, the one they poured $400,000 into. The paint peels, the hedges overgrow, and a faded for sale sign leans crooked. I park near the mailbox, pretending to check the address. Mrs. Collins, the old neighbor, recognizes me instantly. Myra Lewis, my goodness, it's been years. Her voice drops to a whisper. Your brother's house is in foreclosure. He lost his job last year. I keep my face neutral. I hadn't heard. Your parents are struggling too, trying to help him, I suppose. She shakes her head sadly. Such a shame about that beautiful kitchen. I thank her and walk back to my car, heart steady but heavy. When I call my assistant, my tone is clear. Add the Oak Ridge properties to our acquisition list. Target distressed homes in that area, especially near number 47. By the next afternoon, we own 4 houses in the same zip code. At the investor meeting, I present the portfolio. Projected return, 12% annual. Stable neighborhood, strong rental potential. No one knows I grew up on those streets. No one knows one of the properties belonged to my brother. By evening, the deal closes. I sit in my office, unlocking the bottom drawer of my desk. Inside is an old photo. Me, Ryan, and our parents smiling in front of that house. I was 17, still believing love was unconditional. I return the photo to the drawer and lock it away. The next day, my assistant hands me new rental applications. One name stops my breath. Thomas and Claire Lewis, my parents. They're applying to rent their son's former house. I close the file carefully. Schedule the showing for Friday, I say. I'll handle this one myself. The house looks smaller than I remember. The once perfect paint now dull, the lawn patchy and uneven. Inside, sunlight falls across the marble counter Ryan once bragged about. The air smells faintly of dust and faded dreams. I align the lease papers on the table, perfectly straight. Everything feels still, like the moment before a storm. At exactly 3 o'clock, a worn Lexus pulls into the driveway. My father steps out first, shoulders stooped, confidence gone. My mother follows, her hair fully gray, clutching a faded purse. They pause at the door, eyes catching the sign Mira Property Group. They don't notice the name, or maybe they do. 10 minutes later, Ryan's car arrives. He moves slower now, thinner, quieter. I stand in the kitchen archway as they enter. They talk softly, unaware I'm listening. "Can you believe we're renting?" my mother whispers. "We're lucky someone's willing to take us," my father mutters. Ryan sighs. "At least it's near our old home." I step forward. "Good afternoon, I'm Myra Lewis from Myra Property Group." Their heads snap up in shock. "Myra," my father stammers, voice trembling. "What a coincidence." My mother's hands flutter to her chest. "Sweetheart, we've missed you." Ryan says nothing, eyes fixed on the floor tiles he once chose. I smile politely. "Thank you for coming. Shall we begin the application?" My father forces a shaky laugh. "Family first, right? We can talk first." "It's best we focus on the paperwork," I reply evenly. Their faces shift as reality settles. They're not here as parents. They're here as applicants. I continue, voice calm, professional. Monthly rent, deposit, and income verification are required. My mother's voice cracks. "Surely there's a family discount." My father adds, "Blood means flexibility, doesn't it?" I meet his eyes without blinking. "This is business, not family. You taught me that." The words hang in the air like a final verdict. Silence stretches, heavy and raw. I slide the application toward them, pen resting neatly on top. The application fee is non-refundable. My mother's tears fall quietly onto the form. "What happened to you?" she whispers. "Life," I answer simply. Ryan finally speaks, voice low. "I'm sorry for back then." I nod once, acknowledging but not forgiving. The house is available immediately. Standard terms apply. They leave in silence, faces pale, shoulders heavy. From the window, I watch them huddle near their cars, arguing softly. The signed application lies untouched on the counter. I whisper to the empty room. $5,000, one lesson learned. The next morning, they return to finalize the lease. My tone remains steady, detached. Rent is due on the 1st. Late fees apply after the 5th. My mother pulls out a family photo, placing it on my desk. "God gave us another chance," she says, voice trembling. I return it gently to her purse. "If you want reconciliation, there are terms." "Terms," my father repeats wary. "Family counseling, 6 sessions before any personal discussion." My mother gasps, "That's absurd." "Then we'll keep this professional." Ryan reaches for the pen first. "I'll do it," he says quietly. His parents exchange looks, then follow. They sign the lease, initials shaking on each page. I countersign with the same pen I once used to pay my hospital bills. As they rise to leave, I call in my assistant. "This is Jessica," I say calmly. "She'll manage your tenancy." "You won't handle us yourself?" my mother asks. "No," I answer. "All tenants are treated equally." When they leave, I exhale slowly. Outside the window, their figures blur in the afternoon light. For the first time, I don't feel anger. Only clarity. Justice doesn't always roar. Sometimes it signs a lease. 6 months pass quietly. The rent arrives early every month, neatly transferred, never late. Jessica updates me each quarter with the same report. No complaints, no requests. They're model tenants. I nod each time, keeping my voice neutral. Boundaries remain firm, clean, unshaken. Business stays business. Still, some nights, I wonder if they ever talk about me. If they remember the night I begged for help. If regret feels heavier than silence. One afternoon, Jessica brings an envelope to my office. Hand-delivered, she says softly. The handwriting on the front stops me cold. Ryan. Inside is a single note, written in his careful script. Myra, I'd like to meet for coffee. No agenda, just talk. I stare at it for a long time before setting it aside. An hour later, I text him back. Saturday, 10 a.m., Riverstone Cafe. I have time until 11:30. Saturday morning arrives gray and calm. The cafe hums with soft chatter and roasted beans. I arrive early, choosing a corner seat near the window. The same habit as always, clear sightlines, easy exit. Ryan walks in 5 minutes early. He looks older, thinner, and far quieter than before. He orders black coffee and sits across from me. Thank you for coming, he says. You're welcome, I reply, wrapping my hands around my cup. He hesitates, then slides a small package across the table. This isn't a gift, he says, just something I found. Inside is a framed photo of us, as kids building a snowman. My scarf wrapped around its neck, his arm around my shoulder. I remember this day, I say softly. Dad left for golf before we finished, Ryan replies. He missed the part where you gave the snowman your scarf because he looked cold. A long silence follows, but it isn't uncomfortable. We've been seeing a family counselor, he says finally. All three of us. I take a slow sip of coffee. That's good, I say. It's not easy to face the truth. He nods. I never saw how differently they treated us. It was normal to me. Me too, I admit, but that doesn't make it right. He looks at me then, really looks. I'm proud of you, he says quietly, for everything you built. The words land softly, like a breeze instead of a blow. I nod once, thank you. We talk for 40 minutes, about work, life, the weight of growing up. When we part, there's no promise of repair, but there's peace. That evening, I sign final documents for the Mira Medical Fund. It offers emergency grants of $5,000 each. The exact amount I once needed and couldn't get. Barbara reviews the papers and smiles. 20 families a year, she says. You've come full circle. Later, I visit the community building I just purchased. Sunlight filters through dusty windows. I imagine patient rooms, shared kitchens, quiet hope. Barbara walks beside me, proud. Your strength was always your vision, she says. I touch the windowsill, feeling warmth from the glass. Outside, children laugh in the distance. For the first time in years, my chest feels light. Pain no longer defines me. Purpose does. I think of my family, of Ryan's letter, of the girl I once was. And I whisper to the empty room. Some debts can't be repaid with money. Only with mercy. Autumn light spills through my office window. The numbers on the report tell a quiet story of growth. 32% increase since last year. Not dramatic, but steady, real. Jessica knocks softly. The Lewises paid early again, she says. 6 months straight, no issues. I nod, nodding it down with a calm hand. After she leaves, I open the drawer beside me. Inside rests Ryan's photo of the snowman. I trace the edge of the frame, feeling both distance and closeness. My phone buzzes with a reminder. Myra Medical Fund, first distribution tomorrow. 20 families, 20 chances at hope. I close my laptop and stand by the window. Outside, children ride bicycles down the quiet street. Their laughter floats upward, clean and bright. I think of the girl I once was, scared, small, unseen. And the woman I became, steady, kind, unbreakable. The world is still imperfect, but I am no longer broken by it. I whisper into the golden air, a promise to myself. I survived more than pain. I rebuilt meaning. The wind carries it away, gentle and certain. And for the first time, peace feels like home.